Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul, and I am a nerd, and you are lucky enough to be here for the May 2018 Worldox Virtual User Group meeting from Attorney Computer Systems. Said it all in one breath this time. I'm very excited. Today, we are talking about archiving documents. Mary Jo is going to take that topic, and I'm going to talk about the best practices for importing discovery docs into Worldox. So, without further ado, I am going to press a series of magic buttons that are going to take me on a whirlwind tour of Microsoft and its inner workings and end up in a place called Worldox, where Mary Jo is going to talk about archiving documents.
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what tangent means.
Tangent.
It sounds like you said tingent. I'm like, what the heck is that? Anyway, all right. So you've been saving documents and emails and all this great stuff into Worldox, and you've got all of these documents for years and years and years that you've stored in here, and you can get to it any time, and that's wonderful. But what if the cases have closed and you don't want to see those documents anymore? You don't need to see those anymore in the forefront every single day in your face when you're trying to search for documents. Well, we have a thing that we call archive documents. So we can actually move these documents into an archive directory, and that way when we're searching, we can search our active cases that we're always, any active documents out there that we want to see. And then if we ever did want to go back and search for any of those closed old files that we have saved, we can go in and we can search just the archived files. So, and then if at any time we need to get one of those documents back, we can get it back. So it's just a way to kind of clean up your database in here in Worldox to see just the most relevant current information that you need to have, and then store the other stuff. So I'm going to show you how you can do that. So right now we are in a test matter. This is our Scooby-Doo matter. And I've got a couple of documents out here. And let's say Scooby-Doo, this is closed, and I want to get all of these documents moved over into archive. Well, if I wanted to take all of them, I can simply select all of them, and I could shift and do this, whatever you want. There was only 4, so I just clicked on them. I'm going to hide your little viewer here, Paul. We don't need that open. So here, I've selected them. So whatever documents, it could be the whole list, it could be pick or choose, whatever documents that you want to archive, we're just simply selecting them. Once we do that, we're going to right-click on that, and then right down here, there's an archive option. Now, if you don't see the archive option right here on this first list of functions that you can do, it may be underneath the More tab right here because you haven't used it yet. So just simply go to More. It's going to open this other list, and archive may be over here on this secondary list. So if you don't immediately see it here on this first list, it just means you've never opened it. Just come to More, pick it, and then it will be out here on your main list. So I'm going to select Archive, just hovering over the Archive option, and there's an option here now that is revealed that says Move to Archive. So I'm just going to click it. It's going to ask me, so here's just our clarify selection, that we want those 4 items, and is that what we want to archive? We just have to confirm that yes, that is what we want to archive.
Don't click it yet, because I have to say that this is my favorite phrase in any prompt box anywhere. Please confirm your intentions. Sorry.
You have files checked. Please confirm your intentions. So we're just going to continue. And it's a 4 selection. It's going to ask me again, am I sure I want to move these to archive? Yes, I am. And there they go. I'm going to say OK. Now they're all moved. You can't find those in here anymore, and that's done. Now how do I get these back? Well, there's a couple of different ways. So first off, I could go over to my cabinets, and I can go to my client files, because that's where this client was originally was under my client files. And we can go to our active, but look underneath here. Now I've got an archive option. So I'm just in my file tree underneath the cabinet section, went to the client files, and there's an archived. Here's my Scooby-Doo matter. It created that folder for me. So it's keeping the exact same kind of folder structure as I had over here in Worldox, and it's recreating it underneath the archive. And even if I had only chosen one document out of this 00 matter, it would have just created this hierarchy for me. Now I'm going to go into the 00 matter, and there's my 4 documents that are in my archive. So I could then again select these, and I can right-click on them, and I'm not really going to move them just yet because I want to show you another way. But if I go to Archive Now, you see now that's changed to Restore the Archive. And what will happen if I click this is it will move all of those files back to the active Scooby-Doo matter and recreate them back over to there. Another way that you can do this, let's say that I just wanted to search for files that are in my archive. So I've moved those documents, they're in my archive section. Let's say I've moved hundreds of documents for lots of different matters. I can go over to my search selection. I'm going to just search client files again, that's where those files were living. And down here at the bottom, I have a search what. And it asks right now, it's just searching the active. But this is a button here on the left, and if I click it, I also could say, no, I don't want to search the active, I want to search the archive. And I could search just the archive, or I could search both if I wanted, and say okay. Now when I go ahead and search, those are the only files so far that, well, maybe not. Maybe I have others. Did I have some other thing on there? Huh? Yeah, I'm going to, but I thought, do we have more that we've archived? Maybe we have. Okay. Well, let's see what we have here. I just think I had something else on my search. You know why? I didn't, I didn't select my client, Paul. That's what we did. So let me try that again. I'm going to go to my clients. I'm going to search just the archive. So I'm going to take that off and search the archive. Okay, and I'm just going to search for Scooby-Doo because that's all I want. I don't want all those matters out there. So there's my Scooby-Doo matter. You can search for all, but I know I've got documents under Scooby. And there's my 4 documents. Okay, so you can search by matter. You can go in, and if I had all of them, I could search all of my archives, all of those things if I wanted to, but that's what I'm searching. So there's a couple of different ways to get to those documents. I'm going to go ahead and restore them back now. So we're going to go ahead and just select them all, right-click, and I'm going to Archive, Restore, and it's going to ask me again to confirm my intentions. Go ahead and continue. It doesn't want, do I really want to restore those 4?
Do you really, really, really want?
Yes, give me a second option. Say OK, and now they're going to be moved out of Archive. And again, if I just go to Direct Access, for instance, here, I'm going to just pick my Scooby-Doo matter. So we have plenty that we've been doing here, and we'll say OK, and they're going to be back in my live files. So you can start moving documents over for all of these different matters that you want, and start cleaning up that file database and archiving them. Paul?
Another place where you might want to use the search what archive is when you're searching for a particular word. I know we had an easement on Mulberry Street. And so you have to decide when you're making that sort of a search, do I want to include archive? Well, I think first I'll do active. Well, didn't find anything, maybe I should include archive. So it's not just I want to look at the archive for this matter. It may be, do I want or not want to include archive in a word search where I'm looking for language that I am just going to use from a prior matter. Another thing to consider about why to archive, it's nice to clean up the active and get all that out of there. But we can, when we specify where these archive documents go, we can put them on a quote-unquote cheaper disk. And by that I mean one that's not part of the main file store, one that's not meant to be hit hundreds of thousands or thousands of times every day by all the different users, one that's not being backed up to expensive off-site backup, maybe one that's just got an old, internal backup that's being used that's run every week. So there are a lot of things that would prompt people to move documents to an archive other than just uncluttering, but uncluttering is certainly one of the good reasons.
Very true. Thanks, Paul.
There is an added program that you can purchase. I believe it's about $1,000. That will automatically archive based on rules, and that's kind of cool, but we don't have many people using it because usually they have destruction and archiving rules that aren't just cut and dry like a year after the matter closes, more like a year after the matter closes and we've received this from the primary attorney and we've gotten this from the client. So most people aren't using the automated methods. I am going to talk about discovery documents. So you send out a request for discovery documents and the other side sends back this CD with this huge folder structure of all these documents, and it's got folders that are multi-level deep. I'm going to go into one that I've kind of created as an example. I've got one under docs called miscellaneous. And in it, we've got some folders, some documents in our main root of this folder, and we've got a subfolder called flights with subfolders from Minneapolis versus from Detroit. And then, of course, we also had, in addition to flights, we had cars, and that does not have any subfolders. So, first, a little bit about this. This is the perfect type of stuff to store in Worldox. Discovery documents like this are great to store in Worldox. They're cut and dry. They could be email messages. They could be PDFs. They could be Excel spreadsheets. They could be anything like this. The other type of discovery that does not belong in Worldox is when you get CDs of videos, and the videos have all sorts of programs on the CDs that control the running of those. If you throw that whole CD into Worldox, you're going to create problems because those EXEs don't belong in there. People will click on them. It won't know what to do with them. They won't know what to do with them. Those types of discovery request fulfillments really don't belong in Worldox. You should find another place to put those and perhaps provide a link to them in Worldox or reference to them or a guide or a list of all the discovery documents that are discovery, bits of discovery that are not stored in Worldox. But stuff like this, PDFs, emails, spreadsheets, Word documents, they're perfect for Worldox. A couple problems though. I mean, you don't want to just move these in one by one. You want the folder structure in some way replicated in Worldox so that you can know how these were stored on the CD that they were sent to you in, because somebody on the other side, if they've taken the time to put them into subfolders, then you want those subfolders because they've helped you to classify the documents. Or maybe it's your side that's producing the discovery documents and you need to store those, and so you have put them into nice folders so you know how they're organized. Sometimes when the other side produces discovery, they don't put them in nice folders, and they do everything they can to make it harder to interact with them. But when they do, you want to preserve that. So here's the key, and here's the trick. If we get to that main folder, actually one up from it, because I'm going to right-click on Miscellaneous, this folder and all of its subfolders are what I want moved into Worldox. So I get to where I can click on that folder and highlight it, and then right-click on it while it's highlighted, and I have a Saved to Worldox option that pops up. When I do this, it pops up a Save to Worldox screen. I'm going to put it in client files. I'm going to put it under the Scooby-Doo matter. I'm going to put it under the first client, matter 00, and I'm going to use a doc type of discovery. That's usually what people will do. They'll give it a doc type of discovery. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say OK, and it's going to move them in very quickly. There's about, I think about 30 documents in here, 29. I can review a list, and then when I'm done reviewing the list, I can click OK. And then it asks me, it says, would you like to create a Worldox link based on the files you just imported? Yes, please. And I'll explain why in a second, but let's just do it for now. It'll be created in the same place where the files were imported. And it wants to give it something like P. Purdue, that's my username, copied 29 files on the date and time. I'm going to change that to discovery response from Redmond, dated 5/2018. You want to call it something that makes sense to how you want to store these documents. And what it's going to do is it's going to create a Worldox link file that, when opened, will contain links to all these documents. Just a way to kind of segregate them and put them in a special place all by themselves. You'll see what I mean in a second. And now it's done. So I'm going to go into Worldox, and I'm going to do a direct access on Scooby-Doo. And now what we're going to find is all these documents that we brought in, plus a link file that, when clicked, will open just those documents in a separate tab. See what I did there? I copied 29 documents in, and they're here. And at the same time, I created this link file that, when clicked on, will take me straight to a list of just those documents. Now, watch this. You'll notice, because I've got comments and list shown, that you have the comments and it tells exactly where it was copied from. Well, that's all well and good, but I can't sort by this. So stick with me here. I'm going to add comments to my actual column layout, and I'm going to sort by comments. And now I can see the hierarchy right here. I got 3 files I can't find. I don't know why. I can see the hierarchy. So here's Docs Miscellaneous. All of these documents were in the Docs Miscellaneous folder. These documents were in the Cars folder. These documents were in the Flights folder in the subdirectory from Detroit. And as I get, I didn't mean to do that. As I get down a little further, we've also got the documents that were in the Flights folder, but in the subfolder called Flights from Minneapolis. So I am able to kind of maintain that hierarchy that was created by whoever created the folders and put the documents in that nice organized structure by making sure to use this methodology to copy it in, which then takes the original location and puts it in the comments, which can then be sorted to group them according to where they came from. Hopefully that makes sense with it displaying on the screen. It's a little hard to explain, but this maintains my hierarchy with the original folder, the main folder called Miscellaneous. All the documents that were found there are first, then the Cars folder, then the Flights folder with From Detroit first and From Minneapolis second. That's your best practice for bringing these things in. You're doing a couple things here. You're compartmentalizing the different discovery responses by putting them in link files. I call them briefcases. I don't know why they called it a link file in that prompt. They are briefcases, and they show up in the folder structure as a little briefcase icon, and when you've got it open in the tab as a little briefcase icon. It allows us to compartmentalize like that. It pulls them in such a way that it maintains where they came from in the comments field, which allows us to continue to group them that way. And it brings them all in at once. You don't have to go in and do one or one folder at a time or one document at a time. You just do the whole thing, and it walks that entire folder, subfolder structure and finds every document that's in there and brings them in. And that is that. So next month, we are talking about ways to delete. There are several. And so Mary Jo is going to go into detail about what each one means and how to get those displaying on your screen as options if they aren't already there. And I'm going to talk about specifically what the differences are between quick profiles and favorite matters. So I will define those two things and then talk about the differences, because there's frequently some confusion about what's what and what to use in what instance. So we'll cover all that. And of course, it wouldn't be a virtual user group meeting without you getting to visit the attorneycomputersystems.com website to find out where all of our recorded video content is. It is on attorneycomputersystems.com. Notice the emphasis on that second S in the word systems. Once you get here, if you will just click on the word videos in the menu, you will be taken to a sub-page that lists all 6 of our video titles, gives a brief description of them, and then gives you a more info button that you can click on to get information specifically about that title. You are currently in a live event. The first 4 here are live events that are recorded. You are in our Worldox virtual user group meeting. We also have virtual user group meetings for tabs 3 and Practice Master. And I also put on a monthly Coffee Pot webinar live event where we talk about products that add value to Worldox and Practice Master and tabs 3. We bring in somebody from the company that makes this third-party product and have them demonstrate it and show us how great it is and how it adds value to one of those 3 things, and that's what the Coffee Pot webinars are. We also have our 2 pre-recorded titles. Mary Jo has her eBytes video series. She records 3 of them each month, 1 on tabs, 1 on Practice Master, 1 on Worldox. They are very short, 2, 3, 4 minutes long, so we take something really cool that we can explain very quickly and concisely, and we put it in a video. For things that are a little more broad in nature and that require a little more time to explain, we have the Paul and Mary Jo show, where either I or Mary Jo will take a broader topic and spend 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes explaining exactly what that is. We just recorded one today about what's new in version 19 of Practice Master and tabs, and I think I got it all done in 15 minutes. So they're not long, but they're not short either, and so they take up broader topic. If you click on one of these things, like the one you're in, the Worldox Virtual User Group meeting, you'll find a very brief description of what that title is. If it's a live event, you'll find information about the next one with a complete description and a title and 2 links to register that take you to exactly the same place, but some people prefer to click on something that looks like a web link so they know what they're clicking on. As you scroll down, you will find pre-recorded versions of all the other ones that we've done in the past. This is where you are right now. This is one where we talk about archiving and best practices for importing discovery documents. This is currently in post-production, so there won't be a video until we're done producing it. But all the others are here, and you simply find what you're looking for and click on it. You can browse like that, or you can specifically say, I want to know about archiving documents in Worldox. And so you could type archive here, hit enter, and you'd get, among your hits, you'd get the one that we're attending right now. So please, these videos are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Please take advantage of them. There's no cost. They're free. I guess that's what no cost means. And they're out there. Grab a glass of wine, snuggle up by the fire, take your laptop, watch videos. Sounds like a great evening. Everybody have a good rest of the month, and especially a good rest of the day, and we will see you in June. Thanks much. Bye-bye.